Hello there, I'm Greg Sadler, and I'm really excited to tell you about the first special one-day seminar that we've got coming up in the new year. It is going to be focused on a really major work of philosophy that a lot of people find challenging. I'm going to help lead learners through it. What is it, you ask? Well, it's Friedrich Nietzsche's first major published work, The Birth of Tragedy, out of the spirit of music. And it's a fairly short text, but there's lots and lots of allusions to artists and philosophers and other people involved in culture. There's a lot of moving parts to the picture that Nietzsche is sketching out. And it's complicated by the fact that the later Nietzsche didn't look so favorably on his early effort. Perhaps he was a little bit too critical of himself. So, for a day, we are going to, as a class, go through it with me leading. And as always, my lecture is very interactive, a lot of discussion, a lot of question answer. I'll be providing a lot of resources to the students, some of which are from my own classes in which I've taught this text before, or invited lectures that I've given on the birth of tragedy. So when is it going to be happening, you're going to ask? Well, since we're talking about the new year, it's going to be in January. It's the second Saturday in January 2026, so that is the 10th. We're going to begin at 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. That's Central Time. So you do want to check your time zones. It might be earlier, later for you. And we'll meet for the first 90-minute session. Then we'll take a little break, come back at 11 o'clock, meet for another 90 minutes or so. Might go a little bit longer, depending on how many questions and how far the discussions go. And then we'll take another break, and then we'll come back and meet at 1 p.m. And that session, typically in these seminars, might go a little bit longer. We will be recording each of these sessions, which we're holding by Zoom. So if you have to duck out or you can't make it that day, but you still want to participate, you absolutely can. I will be providing all sorts of cool stuff as sort of bonuses for students who are signed up to help you wrap your head around what's going on in this text. So I want to give you a bit of an overview of why this particular book is so important. It's not just the fact that it's Nietzsche's first published work. It's also interesting because Nietzsche himself, as I think I may have mentioned, he's got a little bit of criticism of it, which we're going to look at as well coming later on. But it's an incredibly rich book in insights and exposition, and there's even argument there. And Nietzsche is referencing so many other authors and thinkers that it's a real treat to go through. But sometimes, a rich diet, maybe you need a little bit to break it down. So a lot of the ideas that he's developing there are going to be carried forward in his future work. So this might be a great place. If you haven't studied Friedrich Nietzsche before, it might be a great place to start. If you have and you've been kind of sleeping on The Birth of Tragedy, maybe you want to sign up for this as well. What we're going to do is in the first session, we're going to talk about the overview of the various poets and genres of poetry that he's going to discuss, and then we'll talk about this key distinction that a lot of people take from the work between the Apollonian and the Dionysian, which is very important. We're going to talk about art and aesthetic responses to what he calls the problem of life. We'll look at the Apollonian and the Dionysian in Greek culture, where they're not, by the way, a dichotomy that covers everything, but rather two really important, what he calls noble responses to the problem of life. We'll look at some theories that he discusses about the origins of Greek tragedy and why he thinks that they're not entirely correct. We'll look at two key figures, Aeschylus and Sophocles, who Nietzsche says embody what Greek tragedy is about and how the Apollonian and Dionysian play out there. And then we'll look at what he calls the ethical basis of pessimistic tragedy, right? Why is tragedy tragic? Then we'll take a little break. That's already a lot of stuff. We'll come back. We're going to dig into more of the text. We'll look at the transformation of tragedy as a performance, his discussions about religion and myth, and something that is, in Nietzsche's view, not really that good for them, systematization of them. And then we'll look at the villain in this story that he's going to tell. Well, at least the first villain, Euripides, who follows Aeschylus and Sophocles. How does Euripides wind up being the bad guy? Well, Nietzsche talks about the two Euripidean spectators, one of whom is Euripides. Who's the other one? Socrates. And here we get the introduction of a third important, noble response to life. He's going to call it the Socratic. Later on, he'll call it the Alexandrian or the theoretical. And he's going to talk about the effect that Socrates has on tragedy and how Socrates, in a certain respect, is going to lead to the suicide, as Nietzsche calls it, of Greek tragedy. And so he'll bring up Socrates as sort of an archetype of the theoretical optimist, a representative of a new way of looking at reality and the human person. And he'll talk about the conflict between the theoretic and tragic views on life and existence. Then, again, we'll take a little break, some pretty heavy stuff, and we'll come back for the third session. What are we going to do during that? Well, we're going to be looking at the options for cultures, which Nietzsche is very interested in. They don't have to go one way necessarily. It depends on which forces are going to predominate and these different three responses to life. And then we're going to do a little bit of a digression into a different kind of dramatic performance, how the Socratic perspective is fulfilled in, and Nietzsche doesn't like this, the opera. Then we're going to talk about the possibility of recovering something. Nietzsche is going to talk about Immanuel Kant, Arthur Schopenhauer, and what he terms the spirit of German philosophy, which he thinks might be very helpful here. The possible rebirth of Hellenic antiquity within German culture. He's going to discuss a number of German composers leading up to Wagner, who he will later repudiate, and how they are similar to tragedy, bringing the Apollonian and Dionysian together. He will contrast the true aesthetic hearer, which could be us, and the abstract man, and finally close on some discussions of the aesthetic justification of existence and the world. At least in The Birth of Tragedy, Nietzsche thinks that's the only kind of justification you're going to get. We're going to look at his reasons for that, and we'll also look at Nietzsche's own later self-assessments of this work and whether he's being perhaps a little bit too critical of himself. So, if you're interested in a real feast of the intellect, something that'll also touch the heart, consider enrolling in this special one-day seminar that's going to be happening once again on Saturday, January 10th. People who take these seminars with me leave not only full of ideas, they're usually pretty happy with what we do in these special one-day classes. So if you have been wondering about this text, you've heard it's important, or even if you've read it and you would like a little help, or I also have fellow professors who join my classes and seminars. If you'd like to get a different perspective on it from somebody who has been reading and rereading and teaching it for now more than 3 decades, check it out.